They are the grandfather you never knew, the mother you wish you knew better, the baby brother you pray you never lose, and the wife you can't kiss goodnight. Veterans are the selfless few who give up what we cherish most to fight for something bigger than themselves. Some die for it, and for those who come home, what will they come home to? Heritage is proud to sponsor South Burlington and her efforts to erect a long overdue memorial for our local heroes. All gave some, but some gave all. So why can't we give a little? Donate to the cause at sbremembers.org.
Dear Kiki, pretty soon the fair is going to come to Burlington. I bet you can't wait to go on all the rides. I remember how I couldn't wait till the fair came to town. Then after that, school starts. Are you excited about school? School is really important. When I get home, you'll be going into the 4th grade, and you'll be the prettiest girl in school. You are very lucky you have great parents and a nice house to live in, and that you're able to go to school and do different things. The little boys and girls in Vietnam aren't so lucky. I miss you and can't wait for your next letter. All my love, Carmi.
Knowing my dad was in combat kept me up late at night. I knew that part of a hero's job was facing danger, and in the quiet darkness, I feared those dangers would overwhelm my dad. But he always came back, and I was always proud of him, because I knew that he had stopped some of the bad guys in our world.
You provide aid when there's a natural disaster. You fight for democracy when it is threatened. A hero is not paid, or nor is he forced. Isn't there a sense of pride knowing you are a hero? Now I ask you, is there pride in serving in our military? Here's my answer. There is pride in serving in the military because you are a hero. Thank you.
Through the planning of the assembly and through the involvement of the students, we're really able to use it as a teachable moment.
Teaching is a critical part of this country's mission. Never forget the past. Teach your new students about what happened and why. 10 years from now, there are going to be students in high school that have no concept of 9/11. What happened? But if they'll have a chance to go visit New York, go to the memorial, go to the museum, they'll say, my God, this was a tragedy.
Mark was never the star in his teams, but he worked extraordinarily hard. He always trained a lot, and he was a huge cheerleader and a team player. He knew and I knew he wasn't ready to go to college and be serious. And so he said, well, if I'm not going to be going to college, I might as well enlist. And that's why he enlisted in the Marine Corps, because he said, if I'm not going to go to college, I want to do the roughest, toughest, hardest thing there is out there.
He came to the school administration and started talking about how he wanted to graduate early so that he could go to basic training. And I remember that he went to Parris Island, while the rest of his class was kind of having their spring senior year. He was having quite a different experience on Parris Island. And but when he came back for graduation, which the Marines gave him leave to do that, I remember, just looking at him thinking, wow.
It was, I think, pretty extraordinary that he had made it onto the sniper platoon as young as he was and as early on in his Marine career that he was. So he was very proud of that. But everybody talked about how hard he worked and how much he was supportive and how he tried to keep everybody on track, and he was just there for everybody.
That was really quite a intense time in the history of the high school, and certainly in my time as an educator, having to address the student body that one of our recent graduates was killed in action. It was memorable to say the least.
It was just very important for me that people not forget Mark and remember him and remember who he was, not so much me, but remember who he was.
On the homecoming football game, so on the homecoming football game, one of our seniors is selected to wear number 72, and that was Mark's number.
Pat has played a great role in educating the young of South Burlington, and I'm happy for it. And it will be so much better when there's something for them to go visit and walk through and see and read it and start to understand what happened.
Our government has asked the veterans to put themselves in a position where they could lose their life or be maimed. Today they're doing it on their own volition because their government asked them to do it. Otherwise they wouldn't be there. And if the government asks them to do something, then the government and the people who it represents should acknowledge that these people have made a sacrifice.
I was not a veteran, but my son's my hero.
These guys are out in the open, and many, many rounds go sailing by their heads, and it's just very, very dangerous all the time.
So I called the city manager at that time, Chuck Hafner, and asked him, what do we do for veterans in South Burlington? And he said, at the present time, we have no memorials. There's no Veterans Day ceremony, no Memorial Day ceremony. And so I thought to myself, well, how can we get this started?
You know, we're the only community in Vermont, I think, that doesn't have a memorial, and it's about time.
I really believe that this project that we hope to see to fruition soon will serve to recognize everyone who's a veteran that has any connection to the city of South Burlington.
The committee decided that near the band shell up at Dorset Park would be a good spot.
Basically what we've created is kind of a winding pathway that kind of works its way between these monuments and eventually leads you down to the bandstand.
Had a contest, people submitted drawings, and we found 3 very nice and appropriate pieces that would fit together nicely and become the memorial itself. One was the dog tags, the old dog tags that would be part of that. The second was a hollow cylinder with the actions and the wars carved through it so that when the light showed through it, it would illustrate to all the wars that the U.S. was involved in. And the third one is a plaque, actually a headstone, with the seals of the military organizations and the U.S. seal.
From the design perspective, we're pretty much done right now. We've created all the technical drawings, basically to be able to go out to bid or to go out and secure some in-kind donations from area contractors. And we're kind of in a holding pattern right now, trying to get to some level of fundraising where we can start to kick off the project.
I think when this is done, this will be a part of Veterans Day and Memorial Day celebrations throughout the community. Whether there's a program over there or someplace, this will be a spot that'll be recognized as a real tribute to the servicemen and women of our country.
I think it's important that we have memorials. I don't even know if memorial is the right word, but some kind of something to remind us that people serve and that they should not be forgotten. And we should be thankful that they serve, as they say, so that we can be free. And whether we agree with every war or not, or every action or not, we need to have a military.
As that monument's going to say on part of this memorial, all gave some gave all. And I think it's most appropriate.
If one person, if one child, or one wife, or one somebody goes up there and gets some peace, then it's worth the effort.